What's going on, guys? Welcome to Rob's house. As you can see, I'm already sweaty. I already brought the Mustang into the garage and got it up on jack stands. I have my jack over here for support, just in case, as I usually do. Today, we're gonna be doing some 30,000 mile maintenance. I bought this car with 36,000 miles on it last year. I've driven it and put about 12,000 miles on it, so we're around 48 right now. However, I actually don't know if the 30,000 mile maintenance was ever done on this car. So just in case, I'm gonna do it anyway. If it was done at 30,000 miles, great. It can't hurt to do these things early. If not, you know, I'm probably saving myself some headaches down the road. So here's what we got lined up today. The three major things that we're gonna be doing is one, we're gonna change the transmission fluid. Two, we're gonna change the differential fluid. And three, we're gonna flush the brake fluid. So here we have some supplies. I have my fan, of course, because it is quite hot. I have some Royal Purple Synchromax high performance manual transmission fluid. I've heard good stuff about this stuff on the forums, the S550 Mustang forums. Everyone says that it helps smooth out the MT82 transmission in these a little bit. The synchros are not very good in this transmission, so they say the fluid makes a big difference. Side note, my plan with this car, once I eventually need a clutch, I'm gonna do a full transmission rebuild, so that video won't happen anytime soon, hopefully, but it is gonna happen down the road. We're gonna upgrade some internals of the MT82 to correct a lot of the issues that these have from the factory. All right, moving on, we have this Max Gear, again, Royal Purple synthetic Max Gear with friction modifier additive oil for the differential. So just wanted to point out that it already has the friction modifier added. So when you guys don't see me mixing this, that is why. You don't have to, this is a pre-mix. And then over here I have some Modal RBF 600 brake fluid. I actually put this brake fluid in the Corvette and it's been great. I did, you know, a couple drag-in runs with it, no boiling issues, nothing like that. And then from Motive Products here, we have a brake bleeder pump. So if anyone's ever bled brakes before, and I know I've talked about this in a previous video, you basically either need two people to do it. You need someone to actually hold the brake pedal down while you crack the bleeder open on one of your calipers, or you can use a vacuum pump, a little vacuum hand pump on the caliper to actually like suck fluid through. I have one of those and it just doesn't work that well, to be honest with you. So one of my friends turned me on to these power bleeder pumps, and basically the way this thing works is in the box here, we have, it's kind of hard to see, but we have a nozzle attachment that'll attach right to the fluid reservoir of this car. And what we can do is, well, first we syringe out all the fluid that is in the reservoir already. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill the reservoir with new fluid. We're also gonna fill this tank with new fluid. And what that's gonna allow us to do, this has a hose that goes to the bottom of the tank. And what this is gonna allow us to do is pressurize this pump. I think it's either 15 or 20. I have to look up what you're supposed to do on these. But anyway, we're gonna get some pressure in it, and it is a vacuum seal. So what that'll allow us to do is we can actually remove the wheels and just go around and crack the bleeders, and it'll just, because it's vacuum sealed and pressurized, it'll just pump fluid through continuously until we close the bleeder. So one-man job, makes it a lot easier, obviously. Hopefully we'll get to that tonight. It is already after 9 p.m., so I'm not sure how much I'm gonna get to tonight, but hopefully I wanna at least get all three of those things done. And then the only other thing that I really wanted to do to the car was kind of like just do an interior clean, do some leather conditioning and stuff like that. So to that end, if I come over to my detailing supplies over here, we have some Chemical Guys leather cleaner and some Chemical Guys leather conditioner. So if I get to it today, I want to do that just because I haven't given my seats in this car a good clean yet, and I would like to preserve them as best I can. So let's get under the car and I'll show you guys where the drain plugs and fill plugs are for both the differential and the transmission. All right, first up, because it's super easy to get to, this is the differential housing for this car. And if you haven't done this before, just so you know, this is the drain plug. These are both 3/8 inch socket. So this is our differential drain plug and our differential fill plug. And this is gonna be the same thing as changing your engine oil. You're basically gonna crack this drain plug open and just kind of let all the fluid drain out. I have an oil pan under here. And then the way that you fill these, unlike engine oil where you kind of like, where you have like a dipstick to check it, you'll have taken both these off because after the oil starts draining out of here, in order to make it drain faster, you actually crack open the fill plug. So I'm gonna do that. And then just put your drain plug back in after it's empty, and you're just going to pump oil in through the fill plug until some starts to spill out. And then you know you're done. Then you just put your fill plug back in and you're good to go. The procedure is exactly the same for the transmission, but we'll go up to the front and I'll show you where these plugs are. All right, guys, here is our MT82 transmission in this car. Right here, if my camera shadow doesn't block it too much, is our, there we go, that's our drain plug. This is actually an Allen head screw, so I'll just get an Allen socket for that. And then moving up here, I don't know if you guys can see this guy right here. See where my finger is? That's your fill plug. So it's kind of hard to see, but it's on the side here. See that this little guy with the Allen head? That's your fill plug for the transmission. Procedure's the same. Open up the drain plug, let all the oil drain out, pump the new oil in through the fill plug till it starts to spill out of the transmission. That's all you gotta do. Basically, this just has like a little hose coming out of the pump, so you just screw the pump onto the top of these bottles. This is supposed to be the right size for these bottles, so hopefully it fits. But even if it doesn't, I can just kind of just hold it on and operate the pump. And basically we're just going to stick the hose inside of our fill plug. And then once fluid starts to spill out, we know we're done. I will give you guys a little time lapse of me doing it via the GoPro on the ground, but I just wanted to kind of walk you through what the game plan was before I got started. And I will go through, if I get to the brake bleeding process tonight, I'll go through that with you. So first we're just gonna change the oils. That should be the easy part. So let's get started.
When you got close to me, you had me falling so hard, baby, yeah, now I get it, you got heads turning, and you don't even try. Well, would you look at that, my glass is empty, how about I get another drink, baby, okay, I get it, you got fire burning, right there in your eyes. So when you got
All right, guys, so here's, so you saw me drain all the fluid, you saw me reinstall the drain plug. The manual calls for torquing, a torque specification of 25 pound-feet, so that's not that much. I'm pretty sure it was over torqued because it was really hard to break it loose. But anyway, that's torqued to 25 pound-feet. I am currently on my first bottle here, pumping into the fill plug. The differential takes, I think it said 1.6 quarts. So this is 1 quart, so we will use this entire bottle. And then we will use a little more than half of the second bottle. So I will be back when it's all done, and I'll let you guys know how it came out. All right, guys, the differential's all filled back up. These pumps that I bought work great. I bought them, it came in a pair on Amazon for like $7. I'll link it in the description below. I'll link the gear oil and the transmission oil that I used also in the description below. The only difference here when we do the transmission, it's the same exact procedure in the sense of just draining the oil and pumping the new oil in. The only difference is it takes more fluid, so it takes 2 point something. I don't remember the exact amount, but basically I'm gonna be on my third bottle when it starts to spill back out. And then it uses a 5/16 Allen to remove the drain plug and fill plug and reinstall them. So that's the only difference from the differential, which just actually uses your 3/8 socket directly. Torque spec is pretty much the same. It's 25 pound-feet for the diff. It's 26 pound-feet for the transmission. Anyway, I'm gonna spare you guys that. I'm just gonna do it real quick. It's not gonna look any different than what I just did. I showed you the drain plug earlier in this video, so there's no point in just showing you a bunch of oil dumping out and then me filling up a bunch of oil. So let me get that done and I'll be right back, and I'll see what time it is, and maybe we'll do some brake bleeding today too. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, so the transmission fluid's draining right now. I just wanted to show you guys real quick how I managed to get the fill plug off. So the drain plug's really easy because it's facing the ground. That's not a problem. For the fill plug, I use this 90-degree 5/16 Allen. And I actually had to extend it. This is a 5/16 receiver here for my screwdriver. I had to extend it to get a little bit of leverage just to crack it loose. So I'll probably use that to get a little bit of leverage just to tighten it up, make sure that it's all good. And the bottom one, I of course will torque 26 pound-feet. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys an update while I was waiting for the fluid to drain, and I'll be back once that's done. All right guys, so I have good news and bad news. I checked the reservoir and it looks like the fluid is actually pretty clear. It's not really discolored. So that's good. That means that this fluid was actually flushed at some point. So like I said, we're doing 30,000 mile maintenance. You know, I'll probably leave this fluid in here a little bit longer, maybe change it another 10,000 miles or so. The bad news is that with this power bleeder, it says it's supposed to work for GM products with a 3-prong cap. It comes with some gaskets, and it's supposed to work on 2005 and up Mustangs. That's true in the sense that it works on all the S197 Mustangs, which are 2005 to 2014. It does not work on the S550, which is the 2015 and up Mustangs, which is what I have. So it's not a big deal. Motive Products sells different adapters. So I just ordered the adapter. Apparently the reservoir cap for these cars is the same as what European cars uses. So I ordered adapter, I think it was 1109, which should work for, I don't have a Euro car, so it'll probably only be this car that I use it on, but it does say that it works for the newer Mustangs. Anyway, we didn't get to bleed brakes today. The procedure for that, I'll just go over it real. Basically, you open this up, stick a syringe in here and siphon out all of the brake fluid. You could use a syringe like this, where you have a tube that you can stick in there and kind of pull, yank all the fluid out. Get all that fluid out of there, replace it with whatever your new fluid is. After you do that, fill up the power bleeder. You don't have to fill it to the top, but maybe fill it like halfway or something with your new fluid as well, because once you pressurize it, you're not gonna be able to open it. You wanna make sure that it doesn't empty out while you're cracking your bleeders. And basically all you do then is, screw the cap on, connect there's a little threaded part here, connect whatever the appropriate adapter is to the tube on the pump itself, pump it up, get it to 15 psi or whatever it is, whatever the manual calls for. I'm not sure exactly what the pressure is, but get some pressure in that, and then you can just start going around. And basically what you do is take all your wheels off. You start on most cars, and it is true for this car, the bleed order is right rear, right front, left front, in that order. So what you're gonna do is pull all your wheels off, and on your brake caliper, there's your bleeder. Just crack it open and just with the pump, the great thing is you don't have to do anything because it's pressurized. So you just let fluid keep flowing through until you see that nice clear brake fluid. It should really have almost no color to it at all. And once you have that coming through, it should only take maybe, for your farthest brake line, maybe 30 seconds, probably less. And then just close that bleeder up and move on to the next one. And you literally just do that in all four corners of the car. On a car like the Corvette, or on the front brakes for a performance pack S550 Mustang, which is what this car started its life as, this has 6 piston Brembos. If you know anything about Brembo brakes, they actually, some of these newer calipers actually have 2 bleeders on them. So there's an inner and an outer bleeder. So you bleed the inner one first. So you're gonna crack that one first, wait till the fluid gets clear, and then crack the outer one and wait till the fluid gets clear. And so on the Corvette, actually all 4 wheels are like that. On the Mustang, it has a pretty small single piston caliper on the rears, and they only have one bleeder valve, so there's only one thing to crack. But on the fronts, there's an inner and an outer. So just make sure that when you get to your right front, do your inner, your outer, then move over to your left front, do your inner, and then do your outer, and then you're done. That's pretty much it. Obviously, doing this kind of maintenance is super important. Brake fluid does break down. Air will eventually get into those lines, even if they were bled properly. The first time, it will get contaminated. So over time, you do want to make sure that you keep up on your maintenance. If you don't do your maintenance yourself, like that's fine. You can totally take it to a dealership. But I'll tell you guys straight up, I was at the dealership the other day, the Ford dealership, because their engine oil changes are pretty cheap. They barely charge any labor. So I was like, whatever. For the convenience of not having to do it myself, I'll go to the dealership. It's only going to cost, I think it was only like 15 bucks of labor. It really wasn't much at all. This is how they get you. They get you in with the oil change. So I said, what about doing all my other fluids? What about my transmission, my differential, and my brake fluid? And they said, oh, okay. And he gives me a quote, said, oh, with all that, it'll be $650. I said, $650? Why? Let me see the breakdown. I was like, cause oh, and just for your reference, all of this royal purple stuff costs about 15 or 16 bucks a quart. So I used about 5 quarts, so $80 worth of oil. Not that much, right? This brake fluid, this is like racing brake fluid, so this is actually pretty expensive. For all 6 of these bottles, it was about $100 bucks. But if you're just, you know, daily driving your car, if you're not like driving your car super aggressively or tracking your car like I do, you don't necessarily need brake fluid with as high of a boiling point as this stuff. But with that said, the oil, I was like, there's no $600. How did you get that number? And they show me the breakdown. They were overcharging a little bit on the oil. They were saying it was like 20 bucks a quart or $25 a quart instead of 16. I got this from AmericanMuscle.com. They had it for 16 bucks a quart. But this is where they get you. Where they get you is for the oil change, the labor cost that he quoted me was like, I think it was 0.4 hours, which makes sense. That's how much an engine oil, that's how long an engine oil change should take. It should take a little bit less than a half an hour for them. Now you saw what I did here. I'm doing this on jack stands. It took me time to get it on stands and stuff, but if I had a lift, I just lift my car up, crack that drain plug. I mean, it takes like almost no time at all. Well, on the breakdown for each different fluid, they wanted to charge me an hour of labor. So they were gonna charge me an hour to do the differential, an hour to do the trans, and an hour to bleed the brakes. It's been approximately 2 hours since I came into the garage. Now, mind you, when I started, I had to jack the car up and put it on jack stands. If I had a lift, this whole thing would have taken me maybe an hour, hour and a half. So I looked at this and I was like, this is how they get you. They charge $125 an hour for labor at this place. So all in all, the reason it came out to $600 is because $375 of it is labor. In previous maintenance videos, I've told you, and in some upgrade videos, I've told you guys how much I've saved by doing it myself instead of going to a shop. Well, I'm telling you in this video, I saved approximately $375 by doing this myself. And it's really not a complicated procedure. This is something that no matter who you are, no matter what car you own, you're supposed to do this every 30,000 miles. Some people are gonna tell you that's overkill. I would like to be safe. Differentials are really expensive. Transmissions are very expensive. Engines are very expensive, right? So these are 3 of the biggest collections of moving parts in your car. So, you know, everyone understands how important it is to change their engine oil regularly, but it is also just as important to change your trans oil and your diff oil. Even though it doesn't require it as often, it is important to do that. And then your brake fluid, for obvious reasons, you don't want any contaminants or air getting into those lines because, as you can imagine, it's not very fun when you put your foot on the brakes and nothing happens. As I said, this is a pretty simple bit of maintenance. The only thing that is even remotely complicated here that you would have to sort of pay attention to what you're doing is bleeding brakes, but I don't view that as being a very complicated procedure. You just have to make sure you don't introduce air into the lines, and if you have a pump like this, it makes it really, really easy. So anyway, that's the rundown for today. I'm gonna get the car all cleaned up. She's been getting rained on. I actually haven't even given this car a wipe down since I ceramic coated it. We have a little bit of rain residue. It's been raining all week here, but nothing compared to what rain used to do to this car. So I'm super happy with the ceramic coating job. It really works great. So anyway, I'm gonna give the car a quick wipe down. I might do some leather conditioning and whatever, but as far as today's video goes, we're done here. So as usual, I hope this video was helpful and I'll see you guys next time.